Okay, let's build a little generative thing today. Start with an oscillator. There we go, we're generating something. But we want to be a little more interesting, so let's add a LFO. LFO is going to change the pitch. But I think we're still not interesting. I'm going to add a few things here just to make things a little more easier to manage. So what I'm doing is taking any output, I'm putting it through this amplifier, and when I push this button, we'll be able to hear it, I hope. There we go. So this button, I believe, is free. I'm trying to use only Cherry Audio stock modules. I may not have other ones in here. But also these are, everything I'm using should be pretty simple things. If there's something that isn't, let me know. Okay, so we have this sound. Let's see what's going on here. So we can use the oscilloscope to see what's coming out of here. And we can see it's going from -5 volts to +5 volts. So almost all the CV in Cherry Audio is in this range internally. That's what's calculated as well. Audio in Cherry Audio internally is also -5 to +5. So for signal stake, everything is this 5 to 5 volts. If we switch this polarity, it's going to go just -5 volts, and this is what this sounds like. So it's most of these notes are too low to be generated or heard. We do on the top, kind of hear them all, but you know, it's just going back and forth. We want to have actual notes in a scale being played, so we can use the quantizer for that. Now what this is going to do is take any of that input voltage, and if the voltage is not at a note, it's going to move that voltage to a note. And it sounds pretty much the same. But let's change this. Instead of outputting a wave, it's going to output a tone for a set amount of time. So that sounds like. And let's change this to a major scale instead. And let's see what this output is doing here too. So we can almost see there's a little bit of yellow that shows up once in a while in this oscilloscope. That is the quantizer doing its job and changing a note coming in to an actual note going out. And we can also specify certain notes we want to come out. So so here we got C major scale, or C major chord thingy. And we can also adjust these. So if we want, we have 5 volts going in, you know, 5 octaves. If we want just 1 octave, it would be, you know, 20%. So we could put 20% in here. Now we're getting just 1 volt difference out. So if we zoom in on this a little bit, we should just see 3, 0. Well, we could also listen to it. So we have that coming in and going out. and it's a little low, so we can also use this to step it up an octave. And it's a little sound like. So to make it a little more interesting, let's add an arpeggiation type of thing to this. Right now we don't have a sophisticated synthesizer pumping this through, and I'm going to leave that for another one. But to get some arpeggiation, we're going to need some clocks and stuff like that. So with that, we need a sync source. So we got our sync generator, and we need a sync divider, and then we're going to need some clock dividers. So what's going on here? Well, basically we're getting all these different clocks coming out of here. So this is the eighth notes for our BPMs, and then this would be half that, and this is divided by 2 again. So what we want to do is also hold this note coming out for 1 bar, and during that bar we're going to want to play an arpeggiation. So how do we do that? Well, that's why we're here. We look at my notes. Let's see. We're going to want to do a sample and hold. So the reason we want the sample and hold is right now we're generating these notes with just this frequency on the LFO. It's not tied to a clock or anything. So with a sample and hold, we are going to have a note or a value that comes out of here is going to be held based on a clock. So in that case, right now the clock isn't set to anything, but if we set it to this external and we do it to this one, now we have a tone that is held by our global clock we've set up here. And sometimes the random number that's generated is the same, so it's going to give the same tone for 2 beats in our clock cycles. Alright, so now we have that set up. Now we want to set up some kind of arpeggiation. Do that, we're going to set up and use a switch. And the switch is 8 to 1. So the switch is going to have and we're going to trigger the steps with our second divider. So now it's not getting anything. And we set these up here. We want 4 steps. Add more. Let's just keep it. We'll add this one in there too. So I think I have these backwards. So we want our trigger for our hold to hold longer. And then our steps to be faster. Let's see. Now the problem is we need a reset. So let's just wire this up to our resets. So that basically gets everything in sync. So our first note coming in here will be the start of the note coming out of here. Now we need to make these different notes, and we can do that with a DC offset. DC. And all we're going to do is add this DC amount to these. And we're going to do it to two of these. So so if we look at one semitone in CV is going to be 1 divided by 12. So that's 0.0833 volts. And I want to do basically this scale. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So from the first note, we're going to leave that alone. The next note for semitones is 4 divided by 12. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And the next one is, say, 0.58. And next one is 0.92. That gives us our third, fifth, and seventh. Is that right? 2, 3. It's a third, fifth, seventh. Something. I don't know. I failed music theory every time. So now, I'm just going to turn this up. We are going to add this to our second. There we got a little I'm going to add this to our third note in our arpeggiator and our fourth. And there we go. We got our arpeggiator going. Let's end this here.